Hi, my friend Sammy here, Redken's Global Artistic Ambassador. Today, I want to share with you a great tip when you hear the client say, please keep my length, I don't want any angle in the front, and I want no fringe. What I want to share with you is how to create triangles on the front and pulling to the wide side so you're creating more mass of hair shorter and less mass longer. In the past, you've seen me pull to the narrow side. This season to the wide side. Why? All these shag effects that we're creating. So now look at the silhouette in terms of how I've been able to create this. So when she has all of her length, she can still pull this back into a ponytail, but what's so cool is now she's going to have a nice sense of volume to it when she goes through and she's working with it. So let's get started and show you how we go in and create this shape. All right, so let's get started, and it's all about working with a section on the top and the crown area. So our sectioning is critical here. So what we want to do is I want to leave out the hairline. This is a story about creating these horseshoe sections with leaving the hairline, about how do you create volume and movement and today's texture on the top when these girls were walking in saying, leave my length alone, and I pull my hair back in a ponytail. So the first thing you need to determine is how far back do you go? Here's what I'm going to recommend to you. Let the hair tell you, or the head shape, excuse me, tell you how far back you need to go. So look how I take a white comb on a dark level of color of hair, and look how I pulled the comb back so it comes off at the hairline. Then I'm looking to where it comes off at the back. So right here is where it comes off. That's where I'm going to start this horseshoe section. Now, how high do we take a horseshoe section? At this moment, I'm going to take it right where that comb comes off in the top of the head. So that's where I'm going to take this to. But a lot of times you need to base it on density. So this is where I'm going today. Yet, if I had fine hair, I would be taking this horseshoe higher. Why? Because we know we're going to extremely layer this top out. So we want to leave more weight towards the bottom. If I had a high density, lots of hair per square inch, then this line, this horseshoe, would probably drop down a little bit more so that I'm actually taking the weight away from the bottom and I'm layering more on the top. So this is a principle that I've given you to find out where the head changes direction. But then again, after you do that, we need to ask ourselves, what is the head shape doing? That tells you where to start. Then ask yourself, what's the density? What type of fabric am I working with? So what I want you to understand is, just as a fashion designer understands the limits and capabilities of silk and of wool, so we must understand the limits and capabilities of the fabric or the texture of hair that we're working with. Okay, so now I've taken a horseshoe section, as you can see, that encompasses some of that top area and that crown area in the back. Now once we've got that, now what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to isolate all of this underneath. Remember, we're isolating the underneath because we're going to go through and we're going to detach this. So anytime that I'm going to go through and I'm going to detach, it's so important that I isolate. So now we're going to take our dry cutting clip and we're going to use that as a tool to isolate. The elastic on the clip is going to take off the pressure so you're not going to get a mark. So it's a great tool to use once you flat ironed, which I did, and then you're going to go in and you're going to cut dry. It's just a great way to control it, okay? So I'm not having to come back in and take any crinkles out. Okay, so I isolate all the way underneath. Now once we have this isolated, now it's about the top. So now watch what I'm gonna do with the top. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna create a series of triangles here, okay? So what I wanna do is I wanna go start towards the back, and I'm just gonna take right from the corner of that head, I'm just gonna draw a diagonal line moving forward. Okay, so I'm going to take this hair away. I'm just going to move this away. Okay, now once I move that away, let's take a look at this back section here. So now when I look at this, and I'm going to spin it around so you can actually see what I see. So notice how narrow I am here and how wide I am over here. I'm actually wider here and more narrow here. What I want to do is I want to create a really exaggerated layered effect. If you watched one of our videos before, I've worked with the idea and the concept of triangles moving back and forth, but I've always gone to the narrow side where I'm pulling all of the hair to the narrow side. Why? Because I want a small amount of hair shorter and I want more width of hair getting longer. Well, now because I'm moving into these shags and just some serious, really layered, extreme layered into the top and the crown areas, this season I'm going to stand on the opposite side. I'm going to pull everything to the wide side and stay away from my narrow side. So more massive hair is getting shorter. Notice by me pulling over here, it's going to fall soft. It's going to fall from short to long because of the way that I'm pulling it over to the opposite side. Now, once I'm here, be aware of where this first hair is going to collapse. Where is it going to collapse? I want it to have some bevel. So I'm just looking to see where I might want to cut that. It's about where I'm going to cut it. I've got a visual on that. So now, once again, I'm going to come through and I'm going to notch this and point cut this. I find when I go in and I'm cutting a lot of hair dry, I love to go in and notch and then come back in after I notch and point cut. Okay, so let's take a look here. You can see from a top view, you can see where I'm pulling this through. Now, where you pull, how far you extend your finger determines the length inside. So once again, I'm determining where's that length going to fall. Okay, about right there is where I want to be. So I'm going to come through. I'm going to notch this for you. And I'm positioning myself so you get a good view of this. Now watch how I take everything back over, and once again, I'm going to fan through that. I'm finding a lot of various ways to cut these crowns, so I get various movements, various textures. I don't know about you, but if I can find 10 ways to cut a one-link bob, I'm going to find 10 ways to do it. There's danger in the comfort zone. So now watch how that's going to fall short to long. Now I'm going to go the opposite way. So now I just continue my triangle. Now it was narrow here, wide over there. Now I want to go narrow here, wide over here. So my triangle starts here and goes to wide to the opposite side. So that's why you're going to take one section at a time. You're not going to pre-draw every triangle in. So right where I left off, from narrow to wide, because now I'm going to stand on this opposite side. So now let's talk about that. What's that going to do? What it's going to do is, number one, I'm creating a really cool texture by doing this. And then the other thing is this, is that watch how this angle went from short to long. And now I'm going to pull everything to the wide side over here. Now I'm long here, so now I'm going to throw short on top of my long and long on top of my short. So I'm getting almost like a slice type of texture, but I'm doing it in a very, very controlled way. So let's go through, give you a back view of that. Okay, here. So Sam, is there a guide? Once again, I want you to just use your hands, determine where you see it bevel. I don't want you to get exact on this. There's this concept I have that if I want a loose shape, I need to think loose. So look at the length underneath. Make sure you see where that's going to fall. Okay, I've got no guide. I'm going to notch. Okay, now because I want this soft, do me a favor. Notice my elevation. Think about your elevation. My elevation is above a horizontal line. Coming back in, fanning, and point cutting into that. Okay, and releasing. Now watch this fall, short to long, the opposite way. Okay, let's go back through. Let's isolate this so that I'm not picking that up. Now I continued off here. Now I'm going to go straight across, short to long, the opposite way. So I can tell where I left off. Okay, all right, so now look, and from the top view, we're wide over here, narrow here. So remember, this season, I'm standing on the wide side. So you can see how things are just a natural progression of what I've done in the past, and start thinking about where do I want my links of hair and how do I want them to fall. Once again, just checking that, elevating above a horizontal line. Okay, let's give you an open side so you can see. Okay, so I'm thinking about where is this bottom, where's that underneath going to fall. Look how I just bevel it. Make sure I'm getting some bevel. Seeing about where that's going to fall. I'm going to isolate that, elevate, and notch. Okay, then elevate, keep it elevated above a horizontal line, and point cut deep. Okay, now watch how each diagonal cancels the opposite one out. That's what's so cool about this. So I was wide over there, now I need to be narrow to wide over here. And then you'll see how I have my last one. This will be my last one. So now I'm over on this side. What I love about this is just a great way to please a client that's looking for some long layers You could take this extremely short. If I'm going to go extremely short, I'm going to zigzag that horseshoe, the rim of that horseshoe. So I get a little bit more of a diffused edge. But because I'm leaving this a little bit longer, and I know I'm deep pointing very, very deep, the solid line on that horseshoe is going to be okay with me. Base that on your density. So now I'm standing on this side. So now I'm going to go stand on the opposite side on my last section. My last section here. Taking a look and seeing just how that bevels, and there's a number of bevels. So there's more than one. And it just helps you to get an idea where that hair is going to bend so that you know where you're going to go. Look how I'm standing. I pull to the wide side. Here's that wide side. Really loosen up your mindset to do this, guys. You have to understand, I respect precision. I respect the principles and the fundamentals in the whole creative process. I respect them. Not about just picking it up and just cutting it for the sake of cutting it. Now watch, when I release this, watch how all of this will be seamless, but then watch just the movement, and then she's still gonna have the illusion of having one length hair. So you can see the illusion of one length hair, but now watch when I just start touching this. Just start touching it. You can just start to see the movement it has. It's got this kind of Bardot feeling to it in terms of how you see it. And I love keeping this long because maybe she teaches yoga, so she can pull all this back into a ponytail. That's what's great about this, is the idea. Sam, to me, it looks like you might have a little bit of weight right there. All right, let's take a look at that. So I see maybe a little bit of weight there. Maybe my angle was a little bit too angled when I went to point cut. So let's go through and take care of that. Take the palm of your hand, place it up against where you see the weight. Take the spine of the comb, come back in and massage back up. So I'm just seeing now, what this is gonna do, it's gonna enable me to get the hair that I need to cut, so I'm not picking up any hair that I don't need to cut. Now I come in, and this is where I'm seeing it, right in here. And that's where I'm gonna pick this up, and I'm just gonna go back in and just re-soften. So just a great way to go back in if you see there's weight there or something. And now be very careful with this. Look how slow I'm going this. I know that my angle here is very, very critical in order to soften that up. Okay, that's better. So take a look at the silhouette of this now. When you take a look at that, see how she's got this volume to it, and when she just touches it, or she has the ability to put this back into her ponytail if she wants to. All right, so let's recap this. What we did was we took a horseshoe section that was much more rounded, not so rectangular and rounded. We eliminated the front hairline by determining where that comb came off of the hairline, back to that point, and we drew our horseshoe. Then what we did was we went through and we started in the back crown area, drew a diagonal line forward, looked for the wide area and the narrow area. This season, I'm staying at the wide area because I want to take more massive hair short, leave less mass long. You continue to work your zigzag or triangle sections, always standing on the wide side. Remember, keep your elevation above a horizontal line so you keep everything soft, even when you're going in and you're deep point cutting it. So once again, a great way to create volume, texture, and movement, and maintaining the illusion of one length hair. Thanks for watching, my friends, and as I said, at Sam Villa, we engage thinking, we engage minds, we listen to questions, we love to teach, we support your struggles, we cultivate your dreams, and we learn every day with you. Thanks for watching.